Hi, my name is Eric Kinsey. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and you're listening to Rulers and Riders, the podcast where we talk to creative people about what they do and what they ride. My guest on the show this week is Mike Arnold, a.k.a. Mikey Revolt. Mike has a new book out called Forever the Chaos Life Legends. It's a big coffee table book, and it features his very impressive and insightful photography. I met Mikey, probably 3 or 4 years ago at a party in Wisconsin called Hoodbush, and we kind of hit it off, and we've been long-distance friends ever since. He's always one of the people I enjoy seeing at shows. Good dude. His wife, Kat, is pretty awesome, too. They ride around, take pictures, and generally hang out, and they're just good people. They also do the Fuel Cleveland show, which is one of the best shows in the Midwest, featuring motorcycle-related art as well as motorcycles. If you're not familiar with Mikey's work, you might have seen it in magazines like Dice or also on Chop Cult. He's a busy dude, he's super creative, and he's really driven. Best of all about Mikey, he's just a really nice guy. Good time talking to him. I'm using a new mic on this podcast, so the recording is a little hot, so I apologize. I'm doing what I can within budget to improve my audio quality as I go along. So please bear with me, but you can get the gist of the conversation. It was a good talk, and we got into some good stuff about his past, as well as his creative process, and kind of where he wants to go into the future. Let's talk to Mikey.
Good night, Phil.
You there?
Yep, hello.
Hello. So this week we're talking to Mike Arnold, a.k.a. Mikey Revolt. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Just hanging out.
Yeah. So you have had a pretty big week with your book release. We were supposed to talk earlier in the week, and just it sounded like you're kind of having like a hell week like I had. Like just things kept like popping up and kind of going off the rails. Have you kind of got it back under control now?
No, it's still off the rails. It's nonstop, man. I'm already on to the next thing. You know, it's always a go with me. And I just got a puppy too, so I'm not getting any sleep the last couple of days. So when you said you wanted to call me Monday, I was like, I didn't get any sleep. So I'm glad we're doing it today.
Dude, it's crazy. Well, I met you. I think we had like been like Instagram buddies for a while, and then I think the first time I met you in person was at Hoodbush. And
yeah, I don't remember if it was 2013 or 2014. I don't remember, but at Hoodbush.
I think it was. I think we had met at 2013, but I remember really like.
That was the one at the Valley, right?
Yeah, that was the one at the old.
Yeah,
Valley.
I think we did exchange like hellos and shake hands and talk for a few minutes, but I don't remember that encounter as well as I did in 2014 at the farm.
Yeah.
Because I remember hanging out with you for a while at the farm, and that was fun.
Yeah, that was good times. I got to take my dogs to that one, So that was...
Yep, and we were playing with your chihuahuas. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So, you grew up... Did you grow up in Cleveland?
I'm born and raised in Northeast Ohio. I moved all over from the East Coast of, or not the East Coast, but the east of the east of Ohio, like eastern side of Cleveland, all the way over to the western suburbs, and then back again. And I reside in Cleveland now.
Yeah. Well, did you what did your folks do when you were growing up?
My mom, unfortunately, when she had me, instantly became not sick, but like she's always had medical problems, so she was on disability. And my dad, who was not my real dad, but my stepdad, he was there since I was 3 years old, and he was always constantly trying to find anything and everything to help support the family. So like he was doing 3-4 jobs at a time. I would never see him. He would never be there because he was working so hard to keep a roof over our head and food in our mouth, you know.
Right.
And, you know, the weekends that he was home, we'd go camping, or he'd take us out to, you know, different caves and, you know, different experiences like that were outdoorsy. And, you know, so it was cool. You know, my mom was a stay-at-home mom because of her disabilities with all the medical problems. So, it was, you know, I always got to see her, which was great. And she was there for me, and my dad was there for me in his different ways, you know. So,
yeah.
He got jobs from like delivering organs to different hospitals to you know, plastering sidewalls, you know, or drywall, and you know, all in the same week. You know, it'd be just whatever odd jobs he could get. You know, so
wow. Yeah.
He was a crafty dude. So.
Yeah, I always really admired guys like that are just like hustlers. You know, just like always on the ball. Always looking for, you know, whatever they can do to make a buck, and
I think he was so fresh out of high school and stuff. Meeting my mom, and they were both really young. My mom had me when she turned 18, the day after.
Wow.
So you know, she met him 3 years later, so he was probably 20, 21, no college, and it was really just trying to find what he wanted to do in life, and he couldn't find it, but needed to still survive. So.
Right.
You know, trying this out, trying that out, trying this out. You know, failing at this, or this boss sucks. You know, I'm switching to this job, or I like this job, but it's not paying enough. Got to switch to something else. So,
right.
It was a constant change, and I moved a lot because of that. You know.
Right. Right.
Even though it was in Northeast Ohio, I was always in a different apartment building when growing up. So.
Yeah. Now, did you have any brothers or sisters?
I'm an only child.
Only child. Wow.
Yep, that means I was spoiled. Yep.
Well, that's good, man. That's good.
Spoiled when it comes to, like, you know, being paid attention to, and my grandparents, you know, they would always treat me well, and like I said, we were in apartments and we weren't that well off, but you know, I definitely cherished what I had, and my mom and dad definitely spoiled me.
Yeah,
so.
That's awesome, man. That's really awesome. And your mom and dad both still around?
My dad lives in California, in Yosemite area, which I was fortunate enough to go see him when Born Free 6 happened.
Right.
So that was 3 years ago, I think. Right. Mikey Rice and I rode out to California, and on the way home, we stopped in Yosemite, and I stayed a day or two out there with him. Saw him, so that was kind of nice. My mom passed away in 2009.
Oh, man.
She had open heart surgery to repair some valves. And when she got out of the surgery, she was doing fine, and then the next day her liver failed.
Oh, dude, that's hard.
Yeah, they put her on machines and everything, and they were, you know, really optimistic. And then the second day came, and she started getting, you know, worse. And third day came, she looked like a marshmallow, and they said, you know, we could keep her on machines, but if she gets out of this, she's probably brain dead. So I had the hard decision to tell them to pull the plug, which was like the worst thing ever for a 25-year-old kid. You know,
wow.
I wasn't a kid, but you know, 25 years old, I still felt like a kid, and it was really heartbreaking. And I, being the only child, and I didn't have any really other family around other than my stepdad, who actually, you know, they broke up when I was 16. So he came around when that was happening, which was nice. But then he, you know, split again to go out to California after all that happened. But
right.
It's a crazy life, man, and that's what led me to where I am right now, though, with what I'm doing. When she passed, I really lost myself. I used to be really big into art and doing creative things and playing music, and when that happened, I wasn't playing music anymore. All I wanted to do was drink and party and just try to get rid of my woes and shit, and I really lost my ways. And my wife, she was, getting down on me too, like, you got to change your stuff, you got to do something, you got to get out there.
Right. That's
when I found her camera and started doing what I'm doing. So
yeah. Hey, so last week I was talking to Sammy Greystone in England, and she went through a really bad bike accident last summer, and like to the point where like her spine was severed from her pelvis. Like,
oh my goodness.
So she was just within like, millimeters of like being a paraplegic, and and they fixed her up, and they bolted her back together, and she's still on the mend, but like she's making progress, and she can walk now and everything. And we were talking about creativity sort of being a beacon out of the darkness, and and I've gone through some pretty tough times in my life too, and that's always been like the one thing that was that sort of like, ray of light that I could connect with, like, picking up a guitar or sitting down at my computer and just writing, or, like writing fiction or journaling or songwriting or, whatever. And I don't know how non-creative people do it. I don't know how they snap out of stuff like that. But I think for somebody that's creative and sensitive, it's your lifesaver. You got to do it. You got to have it.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense in one regard of like it keeps your mind off things, but then I also feel like you also get your emotions out of it, and you get a sense of feeling. And you're more observant about things when you're creating, I guess.
Yeah.
You're observant not only about what you're doing, but then also your feelings, and you're letting it out. It definitely, it's one of the best coping mechanisms for anyone. Going through hard times is being creative. That's the only thing I know. I even tried playing golf, for a little bit when my mom died, and it didn't do anything for me. The only thing that was cool was I was in nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't anything that was about me or what I wanted to feel like. It was just trying to get my mind off something. And it wasn't working because it wasn't real. It wasn't true. It's just hitting a ball with the fucking club. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I've played golf before, and and I like sports. Okay, like I would prefer to like hike or go canoeing or camp or ride motorcycles or work on my truck or whatever.
mm-hmm.
But like I don't mind playing volleyball or kickball or what stuff like that. Just stuff where there's like the stakes are really low or whatever. But people that like invest themselves in golf and like just completely, like in my mind I'm thinking of like Judge Smales from Caddyshack now, like Ted Knight. I don't get it, dude. Like I don't get it at all.
When I started getting yelled at for not wearing a polo shirt, I was like, yep, I'm out of this. I'm done,
Yeah.
Like, I'm not coming here anymore.
No.
This is not my crowd. This is not my scene.
No. I have a hard time imagining you playing golf anyway. So when you were a kid, how did you kind of get into the creative side of life? I know. I've never actually listened to your music, but I know, like, I was talking to Kat one time about how you guys met, and I know you were in a band at one point. But what was your first sort of like inkling toward like creativity?
I mean, art class in general. I always thought the art teachers were really cool. You know, like they were like the cool people in school. All of the other teachers were just like miserable and trying to teach you facts, and it was like, this blows. Art teachers, they're just super happy, always, you know, go lucky, and they just loved everything you did. And I don't know if that was like a spark in my head, like, wow, I can actually excel at this and try to do well. So, you know, I've painted my entire life, like different, you know, stupid Bob Ross paintings to, you know, watercolors and finger paints or whatever you want to do. Right. You know, I just enjoyed art class. It was like as soon as you got there, it was like a load off your shoulders. You can relax and do what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always thought of it as like, these are like my people, you know, like I always felt like when I was in art class, I really wasn't in school. I was just like hanging out with my friends, like doing cool creative stuff and like making jokes and just, you know, like really, you know, like being myself.
I remember distinctly too, like I would be doodling on all of my textbooks after art classes, you know, just continuing to try to keep that vibe, and it wouldn't stay because I'd get yelled at for doing it, you know, but that's where I was always at in my head is like, oh, drawing is fun, doing art is fun, you know, so I think that, you know, back in elementary school is definitely where my roots came with that. And then you talked about the music stuff. In ninth grade, we moved to, you know, a new city again, and that was a new high school, so all new people, all new friends, you know, trying to meet people, and obviously try to fit in a little bit where I could. I've always skateboarded since I was probably in third grade, and that made me meet, you know, really interesting people who, when you get into high school, were all about punk rock and drinking and drugs and fun and just, you know, crazy antics. And I met one of my really close friends still to this day. His name's Tony, and he literally was like, dude, you got to check out this band. And I really didn't care a ton about music. I liked music, but I wasn't like, I live, eat, breathe, die music. It was just, I listened to CDs on my Walkman, or I went to bed to a radio station. You know, it wasn't anything crazy. He told me to listen to this band, and I can't even remember what it was, but I was like, cool, this is great, whatever. And he's like, listen to this band, and listen to this band. He'd bring me these CDs and mix CDs, and I would be like, whoa, this stuff's all crazy. This is just nuts punk rock, from No Effects to Rancid to AFI, all this stuff that I never heard of before, because I'm stuck in, you know, this rap and other weird, you know, things. I think I heard of Misfits when I was in fifth grade, and a couple other punk rock bands, and a couple rock bands, but it wasn't like anything that was stapled in my brain. And having him introduce me to so much more music, he was like, dude, we should start a band and do stuff like this. And I was like, I don't know how to play anything. My dad plays guitar, and I have a bass that my dad bought me forever ago for no reason. You know, was hoping that I would pick it up, and I never did. He's like, well, bring that shit over. Let's do it. And we started playing music and making stupid punk rock songs, and that really, like, opened the floodgates to creativity for me, like, music-wise, and just going every day to his house and to our drummer's house and just band practice after band practice, pissing off everyone's parents because it's so loud and we don't care, you know? Right. That was like the ultimate, fuck you, I'm having fun, this is great, we're creating cool things, even though listening now at some of the videotapes and shit, it was, and even the audio tapes we recorded with just one microphone, it's all bullshit, like 4-chord crap, but we thought it was the coolest shit in the world when we were doing it, you know? Right. So, having those experiences, it led up to farther down the road of getting into metal and always opening my horizons to music. I got into metal bands, hardcore bands, just kept snowballing into other things and other projects that never really stuck too long, but I'd go on tour with them, and I got really hooked on traveling more. And I met one band in Lakewood, a couple guys who were playing together. I knew the drummer, and he needed a guitar player you want to try out. I had no idea what it was. They kind of sounded like Blink-182 needed a screamo kind of band, and I was like, this isn't really what I'm into at all, but maybe if I add some of my, you know, metal licks and some shit to it, it might work out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I practiced them, and they loved me, and I was like, this is going to be good. I guess, maybe I'll just play around for a while. These guys are nice. And one thing led to another, and a year later we were signed to Victory Records.
Wow.
So it was insane. That was back in 06, 07 area.
Uh-huh.
And I 06, I think, yeah. And I toured for almost a year.
Uh-huh.
And then we broke up because of a bunch of just dumb shit and irresponsibility with all those dudes. So
Right.
I'd rather not get into that. Cause
That's totally fine.
That's a whole nother show. So.
Yeah. What was that band called?
That band was called Driver Side Impact.
Nice.
And you can find it on iTunes and whatever other music avenues. I think we're even on Spotify, which is pretty crazy. I always go on there and play it a couple times, try to get a penny royalty if I can. I think it's like every 20,000 plays you get a penny. It's like retarded. It's retarded.
Man.
My biggest royalty check, I think, was $100 ever. In the however many years that our album's been out. So
yeah,
pretty funny.
Yeah, I made a record and it came out in 2001. And dude, I've never seen a dime from it. Like
no,
oh,
man,
I've never seen a dime. And actually,
the music business is a racket, man.
Oh, it's a total racket. And two different bands recorded songs that I wrote, and they were on the same label. And so I email the guy that owns the label, and I'm like, hey man, two different bands recorded 3 of my songs, and they're on your label. Like, what's up? Where's my money? Like, is there any money? He's like, oh, I'm barely.
That's the second question you just said. That was the right question.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm barely breaking even. You know, I have to pay money out of my pocket just to keep this label afloat. And I'm like, okay,
that's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, well, you know, do you have any like tracking, or do you have any like publishing, or like anything? Like, I mean, surely, you know, like there has to be something. He's like, no, I just barely make enough money to keep it afloat. And I thought about it, and I even like one time like had, you know, the name of an attorney that I was just like, I'm gonna get an attorney, and I'm gonna have them, you know, do what they do and like find out what kind of money is out there for me. And I was talking about it with one of my musician friends, and he's just like, man, don't do it. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you might be depressed and find out that like nobody has listened to your record. And there's just like no money at all. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna let that one go. So
dude, so many labels fudge numbers as it is. It's insanity. Right. Not all of them. I can't say all of them, but there are tons of those independent labels that'll fudge, you know, numbers just to make it look like they don't sell as much. They don't pay their bands as many. Not all of them do that, but there are a couple out there, and it's pretty scary. It's a pretty dark industry for sure. There's lots of loopholes and shitty contracts, and I hate the music industry so much after being in it.
Yeah.
It tainted my love for music. You know, when my mom died, I left my band maybe like a year before that. I literally did not touch my guitar for maybe 2 years, like from 07 to like late 07 to 2010. I did not touch my guitar because I couldn't bear thinking about me playing music for the man. Which sounds really hippie-ish, but that's the truth.
Yeah. It's funny though, man, because like I have friends who, like, I think about 10 years older than you, and I have friends that like I started out with like in the 90s, you know, like my, you know, like really active period was like mid 90s to like early 2000s, and I have friends who like I have like he was just like my buddy, like, but he's like the tour manager for Morrissey, and and he's like, when he's not doing that, he's like the tour manager for Beck, you know, and he just He wasn't a musician either. He like never, like as far as I know, never picked up an instrument, but he loved music, and he just like got into it, like started doing merch and like driving, and he just like fucking kept it going, dude. Like he just kept going, and then he started working for Hank 3, and then from there he just like met other people, and now he works with like U2 occasionally. Like,
wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
It's bizarre, and so, and and like I have like one of my college girlfriends, like she's one of the she's like a booking agent for like Dave Matthews Band. Like that's what she does. Like she is like books and markets Dave Matthews Band. Like that's her job. And
that's cool, but gross also.
Yeah, it's not my jam at all. But
I hate that band so much.
Yeah. I actually dated a girl who worked for Barry Manilow. Like,
oh, cool.
Yeah, actually was the stage manager for Barry Manilow. So
if you're in the business of music, it's usually better. But if you're playing the music, it's not that great for you.
No.
That's my whole moral of all of this. I'm glad you're here for you. You just told me 3 people that work in the music industry but didn't play.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But do you ever find yourself wondering of just like, what if I would have stuck with it? What if I would have, kept not...
I asked that question. A few times, but you can't regret things. The way it broke up, I think we only had 3 members left. If we would have kept it going, and we would have got 2 more people easily to continue, but it would have been the same. Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
It would have adapted into something differently, and would that have taken even a larger toll on my relationship with Kat? I don't know. I was on the road all the time, so and barely making enough money to pay my own bills.
Yeah.
So that was another straw for me.
Yeah.
My family matters too. So as much as creation matters, my family matters. So it got real deep, real fast, and I always question myself, like, I should have stayed with it, but I like where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I think I adapt and change on my own too.
Right. Yeah, you're killing it, dude. I mean, like you're like I think when I had first met you, like you were still kind of like new to photography. I think you've been doing it like a year or 2. I don't think it was very long.
I started about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't like anything mainstream, like getting edited or published or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't getting that stuff started till like 2012, 2013 area.
Right.
I think I started working with Chop Cult 2013.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it really was just for fun the first couple years. Like I didn't try to put myself out there to get published or even think that I was remotely that good. And I look at some of that stuff now and I laugh about where I've gone, and how my style's changed and my technique of editing and things of that nature.
Right.
But
I don't know.
That's all part of growing, and
Yeah. No, dude. I mean, I think when I first saw your photography, I was like, oh yeah, he's got the eye. Like I just immediately was just like, that kid's got something. Like I was really,
thanks, man.
Yeah, I was really impressed. And you were a nice guy too, and that was like probably even better because some man, some people I've met in like the publishing industry. I mean, I've had people that are just like needless dickheads to me. I mean, like people that are just like absolutely just fucking jerk offs. Like, and I think I ended up telling one editor, I won't name names, but like an editor of like a hot rod magazine. I think I said, I was like, dude, if you talk to me like that in person, I would punch you right in the mouth. Like, you're a fucking asshole. And like, he never replied after that. But yeah, but I mean, I think that's really a understated quality of the creative world is that
being able to be approachable and collaborate with people and, still do something cool, like do something original, do something fresh. I think that's just super hard to come by, and you do it, dude. You absolutely do it.
I don't know if I do anything original. I mean, people have been doing this documenting photography of motorcycles forever, but I try to get my output and my outlook on it, which, my spin on it, I guess. But I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, you do an awesome job, man. So I think when I was talking to Kat, I think I'd asked her about, like, how you guys had met, and I think she said, like, you had a blog, and she was it like she was following your blog, and is that
how embarrassing?
No, it's not embarrassing at all. It's awesome.
No, it's embarrassing, the name of it.
Well, you don't have to tell anybody the name. You can if you want to.
I'm going to leave that disclosed.
Okay.
What I would do is I would sit there, and it was a dead journal, I believe, and I would sit there and I'd write my feelings out just willy-nilly and talk about my mom being sick and the dumb douchebags that she would date and the girls that would break my heart. And I guess my wife at the time, before I met her, would read these and just be like, this dude is such a sweetheart, like, oh my God, and she would read every single one anytime I posted them. And I had no idea. I had no idea about her or anything. And when we met, maybe a month down the road, she told me about that. I was like, holy shit, that's weird, And we met randomly in the middle of downtown Cleveland. My friend was drunk, or I was drunk. My friend was not drunk. He was driving. I was drunk. He was driving my car. And then she was drunk, and her friend was driving her car. And they both ended up on the same corner street, going the same direction, not knowing where they're going because they don't usually drive downtown, because me and my wife usually drive downtown. Right. So I see my friend in the backseat of my wife's car, and I was like, holy shit, Johnny, what's up, man? Where you guys going? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, we're going to go eat some food. You want to come? I was like, hell yeah. So all the girls in the front, I was like, that girl in the passenger seat is hot as hell. I was like, Davey, you can have the girl in the driver's seat. He's like, all right, cool, let's do it. So we met up with them, and that's all she wrote. So almost 12 years now.
Wow. Damn.
I
didn't realize you guys have been married.
I've been married, I think, 8 years this July and 12 years together. So.
Wow. That's awesome. So, when in there, well, what'd you say, like 2011 or so is when you first picked up the camera?
Yeah, like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
My mom died in 2009, and I just remember, like, that dark year. 2010 was a dark year. 11 was, where I started, I think, picking it up a little bit, but it wasn't anything major. And then 2012, I started taking it to parties and shows and motorcycle shows and really trying to document what I was seeing. And I had all these pictures and nowhere to put them, and my wife, Kat, was like, hey, you should do a blog, that like you used to do, and write about what you're taking photos of, or just even just post your photos.
Right.
I was like, oh, well, that sounds good. And I tried to think of a name, what to call it. And Forever the Chaos Life was born, basically, from that, you know?
Yeah. It's great. It's great stuff.
I don't blog too much anymore, but that, that converted into the website and everything else that it is,
Yeah. It's funny, I probably around that same time, I had a pretty active, I don't know, I remember, like, the first blog I had, God, that's a long time ago. I hadn't thought about that for a while. It was kind of like you, like, it was just like I had gone through a divorce, and the blog doesn't exist anymore. I don't even think the host exists anymore. But it was basically just like a blog of, like, dealing with my divorce. And and then I started another blog. I opened this, like, antique store. And so it was like an architectural salvage store. And so,
right on.
So the name of the blog was so stupid. It was the Noble Salvage. And it would just be like, this week I bought a door from a crackhead and I'm going to restore it, or I'm going to, do this, or I'm going to do that. And that was pretty fun. And then probably not too long after that, I started blogging about my journalism work and photography and stuff. And I don't know. And I have one for the show, and I kind of use that blog as the graphic element of the show. I feel like it kind of works. Like if you listen to the show and you look at the blog, it's almost like a magazine feature where you get the visual,
yeah, for sure,
and the audio too. But I just remember when that world of blogging was so prevalent, and everybody that was cool had a blog about their motorcycle or motorcycle build. And then Instagram hit, and then just all the blogs just...
It fell off the planet, man.
Oh, yeah. And
it's weird how that happens. Do you remember Friendster and MySpace? once Facebook hit the planet, all that shit went away. Other than, they turned MySpace into a music space or whatever. But it's crazy how one little thing can change how much shit gets messed up by that. Because, dude, I'm right there with you when you say, blogs were a big thing. I literally had a ton of different blogs that I would check every single day in my favorites, just tons of different motorcycle photography and different dudes doing shit. And, I remember looking at Curpius' stuff back in, 2010, 2011 on his blog. I even asked him in a Fuel Cleveland question. I was like, hey, are you ever going to bring that blog back? And he's like, no. Are you kidding me? He's like, it's 2015, Mikey, get it together. I was like, no, man, that blog ruled. He was so blunt about it. He was like, no way, dude.
That's funny. It's funny you mentioned Curpius. I had met him a long time ago. It's probably, I don't know, it's probably almost 10 years ago. But Christian Wren had, I can't remember if it was, he had ridden his chopper. He has this old Ironhead chopper. And he had ridden it to this rockabilly car show in Indianapolis. And Josh showed up and took pictures of it. And I think it was either in The Horse or I don't know, one of those magazines. And I didn't really connect it until Christian was like, oh yeah, Josh took those pictures. And I was like, oh, that guy. And he had rockabilly hair. He was a rockabilly dude. And yeah, I don't know, funny stuff, man.
Is that the photo you're talking about? Is that when Christian had no long hair?
That was around the time Christian had what we call the John Heater hair. He the actor from Napoleon Dynamite, he had this weird kind of mom haircut.
I love Christian.
Yeah.
He's such a good dude.
Yeah, he's one of my besties, man. We went and stopped in to see him at work last night. He was just hanging out, listening to George Jones, doing his thing. So it's cool.
Doing his thing.
Yep. So when and there did you start riding motorcycles?
Around the same time I got my camera, stuff going on. I could never afford one, obviously being younger and in bands and stuff, and
right.
It's always been something I wanted to do in my life, and I'd always talk to one of my best friends, Danny. I'm like, dude, we're gonna get bikes, we're gonna ride forever, whatever. He's like, yeah, it'd be great if we could ever afford one. And I don't know what it was ingrained in my brain that I had to have a Harley, so my expectations were way too high, to have that much money for a Harley, and discovering Sportsters, there was always that nostalgic of, oh, that's a girl's bike, or my dad would say, that's a girl's bike. I'm like, but Dad, you ride a Honda Silverwing, not even a Goldwing, it's a Silverwing,
Right.
So, he's like, oh, Harleys leave you on the side of the road, you're never going to make it anywhere in a Harley, and this and that. And I don't know what what it was. It was just because I was like, I'm always against my dad about things that he liked. I'd be like, I'm getting a Harley, so I set my expectations a little too high, but, around 26, I got my first Harley.
Yeah.
Worked really hard to get it, and luckily the gods helped me out a little bit in unfortunate circumstances for one of my good friends, but he had to let it go for a pretty reasonable price because he had to pay some bills. So I sweep that up, and just babies and stuff really ruin dreams, I guess, is what I'm saying. So he had a baby and a baby mama and a bunch of stuff that were really tormenting his life, and he had to get rid of his bike. So
have you?
I got it, and I've taken that thing everywhere.
Yeah, you ride the shit out of it, man. Have you ever seen that one meme, and the caption is "This magic wand makes motorcycles disappear," and it's a picture of a pregnancy test?
No, but that's amazing. And when you said wand, I thought penis at first. Why did I think that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So bad.
This thing costs you motorcycles.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Funny.
It's always the first to go.
Yep.
So,
okay, Cat's dad had to sell his bike when they came about, when he was younger. So when her brother and her came about, he had to get rid of his bike. And then when she turned 18, he got a new one. Like
nice.
The day she turned 18. So and definitely know what that's about.
Yeah, nice. So what? You were like a year or two into doing photography, and you just started working with Chop Cult, and man, I mean, when you got the Chop Cult thing, I think I was really impressed. I was just like, I knew you had talent before, but like when you started working with them, I was like, wow, he's really going places. Before that, I think you had told me you were working as like managing like a cell phone company or cell phone store or something.
The worst part of my life, yeah. for 10 years, yeah, the worst.
Yeah.
Up until 2015, I was selling cell phones and a manager of a cell phone store for almost 10 years.
Uh-huh.
So when I wasn't on tour, I would come home and I'd still work at the cell phone store part-time, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle helped me out a little bit with construction at one point when I had to, I couldn't get my job back from the cell phone store. I was doing construction for a little bit, and then I got hired at a new cell phone store.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave the names out of it, but one of the major chains that are pink,
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that's rad, man. And
a lot of life learning experiences on how material things don't matter, but how it matters to everyone else. If you understand, literally, people walk in your store and say, "You fucking ruined my phone. You ruined my life. You need to pay my bills." I didn't do this, sir. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I can try and help you fix your phone, sir. I don't know what else to tell you. And my life's been threatened. My car's been blown up by a Molotov cocktail.
What?
It's real in the cell phone industry, I'll tell you. These are no lies. I'm not lying. It really happened.
A Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to a phone call from the Beechwood PD department, which is where I was working at the time. And the police officer calls me and says, "Are you Michael Arnold?" And I go, "Yes." He goes, "Do you have a green Tempo behind the Giant Eagle building in Beechwood?" I said, "Yes, I do." He goes, "We have to tow it." And I go, "Please don't. It's just a blown head gasket. I'm going to get it out tomorrow. I was going to fix it. Please don't tow it. We have to tow this, sir." I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "It's on fire, sir." I was like, "What do you mean it's on fire?" He's like, we're putting it out now. It looks like it's a case of vandalism." And he's like, "Do you know the color of the car that was next to you?" And I was like, "What do you mean the color of the car?" So there was a white, brand new car that had tags that were expired that was completely burnt to a crisp. Completely burnt to a crisp. But because the tags were expired, the girl left it overnight, and her car got burnt to fucking hell. It was insane. It was the most insane phone call I've ever got in my life. And on there, they wrote "fuck," and then the company painted "fuck the company." You know, it was insane. It was the coolest and shittiest moment ever.
That is absolutely crazy. Holy shit.
The cell phone game is off the chain, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I bet, man. It's fucking...
That's Cleveland, man.
Some gangster
That's
stuff.
for you.
Yeah. So, and what are you doing now for work? Are you doing like some kind of editing?
2015, I started up Fuel Cleveland with Jesse Bassett from Gasbox and Tyler from Lowbrow Customs.
Uh-huh.
And I was doing that while working my cell phone gig, and I was working maybe 6 to 8 hours a day on that project while at work or after work, whenever I could. I would just squeeze in time to make that happen. And doing everything that I did for like 6 months to prepare for that show, maybe a week beforehand, Tyler came up to me and he's like, "Dude, you busted your ass on this show. I don't know how you had time to do what you did, and I can't believe all of, the shit that you've done." He's like, "Why don't you just work for me?" He's like, "I need a photographer that will be able to do product photography, cover shows, and do kind of things that you're already doing for Fuel, but like full time with me." And I was like, "Holy shit, like, whoa." Like, no job interview, nothing. Then he just offered me a job, and I kind of like muted my phone and was like, "Whoa!" And my wife, right? Like we were. I remember distinctly we were driving to Toledo for something, and I don't remember where we were driving, but I remember we were driving in the middle country, and I muted my phone, and I looked at Kat, I was like, "Whoa!" And she's like, "What?" I was like, "I'll tell you in a second." Went back to Tyler. I was like, "Okay, I'll talk to you soon. We'll go over some numbers, and hopefully it'll all work out, and I'd love to do it. Like, I'll quit tomorrow." And he's like, "Cool, man, I'll see you in a couple days, and we'll figure it out." So, and that's, a long story short, I've been working there almost 2 years now in May.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, I don't know if it was on Facebook or where you announced it, but I was just like, yeah, man, he's going for it. And pretty stoked for you to do that.
It was such a surreal moment, like to post that goodbye to my cell phone world and be able to really do what I want to do. And Tyler's so laid back and chill on things. He lets me. I give him an idea about something, and he'll immediately say yes, or he'll be like, "Show me what you're talking about," and I'll edit something to the video or whatever. He'll laugh his face off, and he'll let it go through anyway. Even if he's unsure. For the most part, he's just super easygoing and just easy to listen. He really digs what I do, so that helps. In the long run, and he knows what I can do, and he believes in me, and we roll with it.
Right.
He's not like, "Oh, let's change all of this, let's change all of that," nitpicking everything. He believes in what I do, and it makes it for really good content and what we're doing. So
yeah, that's good stuff, man. Now, are you still doing? Are you still like submitting stuff to publications too, or are you just pretty much focusing?
I work where I can. When I can, I try to squeeze things in when available. With Lowbrow itself, there's tons of articles that'll get published in like Cycle Source, Force, and other smaller ones that they'll use my photos with, and usually I get credit on them for the most part. But that's all part of the job, which is great. So I get my work out in publications. Right. I've been working a lot with Dice, with Dean from Dice lately. So a lot of my homies that have been building bikes, I try to get their bikes and they're featured in there in the Dice issues because I like their layouts a lot. And Dean's such a nice guy and sucks about Matt and everything, but it's crazy as Matt was like the first person to like give me a chance with Dice, and like I was heartbroken when I heard all that stuff about him passing.
I know, man.
Sorry to keep bringing up all these dark times, but
no,
oh man.
You know, man, this kind of a recurring theme on the show so far is that I have a lot of people. Maybe it's something in like the creative mindset or the creative spirit, but I think a lot of us owe a debt to people that gave us a chance or turned us on to something that changed our lives or, you know, mentored us. And, you know, to have something that really is, it's not just an outlet, it's not just a creative outlet, but it's the way that we like meet people and socialize and bond and create friendships and keep tabs with each other. And you know, so when I think about like, you know, people that were really instrumental in like kind of getting me into the like motorcycle publishing world, I feel this like debt of gratitude. And you know, and I wasn't close with Matt Davis, but I liked him a lot. I mean, I always admired him. I admired his story, and he was always just like the sweetest guy to me. Like he always,
for sure.
Yeah, he would just like, I could see him in like L.A. or New York or wherever, and he'd like, Eric, and like, you know, hug me and how are you doing? You know, just, you know, listen and catch up, and it was just always like made me feel like, oh yeah, this dude is cool, and I really admire him, and he keeps tabs on me, and he knows who I am and what I'm doing, and it really, you know, encourages me. And I think all of us who, you know, do this thing that we do, I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to people like that.
Yeah, for sure. He's such a genuine dude, and like you said, he remembered everyone. Like, and people that do that and actually take the time to really discover people and know what they're about and remember them is crazy to me to think, you know, on levels beyond how amazing that is.
Yeah.
I try my hardest every time I talk to people to remember at least the face of that person, because the names, unfortunately, they pass through sometimes. It's so hard remembering names, but I remember people's stories, and I remember people's faces and their bikes. I will associate a bike and a face as much as I can. And, but it's definitely what you're saying. I totally agree. And we definitely do owe gratitude to all the publication companies that help all the artists out. A lot of them do such a great job, and Matt definitely will be missed. I was heartbroken the day it happened, for sure. The day I heard about it, you know. Yeah. It was pretty tough for everyone in the office, and it's good he's at peace though. Like with my mom being sick and stuff, she was in pain a lot, and I know in the last couple months he was getting, you know, not so great, where he couldn't even ride a motorcycle, and now he's probably, you know, painless, you know.
I remember like when I was like at the end of last summer, when I was really starting to like kind of pull stuff together to start doing the podcast, and I just like made up a list of like, you know, people that I knew that I wanted to interview, and I had like a list of like, you know, like people I would want to ask, you know, to really, you know, who'd be good interviews, and I kind of knew a little bit of their backstory. And Matt was one of the first people I asked, and he got back to me right away, and he said, "That's a great idea. It's a great idea, and I will help you out in any way that I can. Just let us know when you're ready to go." I mean, like, no half-stepping at all. Just like, absolutely, man. I'll help you out any way that I can. And yeah, and that's how I try to be with people. If somebody asks me to help them, I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. What do you need? You know, you tell me. And I always feel like, you know, people like that, we should just, you know, pay it forward, man. For sure.
I try as much as I can as well. When people ask me to do stuff, I keep my word when I can, you know?
Yeah.
Where I can, I mean. So.
You're one of the good ones, dude. Absolutely.
You're one of the good ones.
I try. So what's kind of like what's going on for God? Okay, we're kind of getting our time in here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Fuel Cleveland and like what's going on with that for this year, and then kind of maybe like close it off with like talking about your new book that just came out. So,
okay.
What is going to be the date on the show this year?
Fuel Cleveland, we moved it back to July 29th. It's been in May the last 2 years.
Right.
The reason we moved it back to July at the end of it is, A, there's not as much going on in the like beginning of August time frame other than like Sturgis. So I think it's the week before Sturgis. So we were going to plan it where it was not before Born Free and everyone's craziness that they have to do for building for that, and everyone makes their plans to go to Born Free, and we didn't want to compete with it. The last 2 years, I really had a lot of people that were like, oh, we're building a bike for Born Free, or we're going to be there, so we can't make it out, or I'd love to be there, but we can't because of the time constraints. So I really just didn't want to compete with that, and nor did Tyler or Jesse. So we really sat down and tried to get a good game plan on what date would work best. So July 29th is the date this year. And also May, weather's really weird in Ohio. It could be snowing, or it could be 90 degrees. It's really weird in Cleveland because of our lake. So that was another reason why we wanted to move it farther off.
Right. Yeah. Awesome, man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we just are ready, almost finalizing the paperwork for the new venue as well.
Nice. So
each year we move Fuel Cleveland. The reason I want to do that is so that when you come here, you always experience something a little different. Even though it might be in similar parts of the town, it'll always be a different show. It'll always feel different. You're never walking in expecting the same thing.
Yeah.
The biggest rule, I think, for Fuel Cleveland between all three of us was let's not do what other shows do. So we don't want it to be repetitive or feel like it's the same thing every year. Not that it's a bad thing, but we want people to be intrigued and always feel, I guess, not just growing, but feel like it's a different experience for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I might actually be able to come this year. Like, it seems like...
Oh, yeah, man, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'd love it. It kind of it's not a drag, I don't want to put it like that, but, like, during the summer, my daughter's on this, it's called the balanced schedule. So, her mom and I kind of split the summer. So, like, I'll have her, like, 1 week, I'll have her, like, 5 days, and then the next week I'll have her 2 days. So it's like, you know, and, yeah, and so it's just like, the summer I'm just super locked down. I mean, God, I sound like a dick. I'm just super, like, involved in, like, what's going on with my daughter, and, like, we spend a lot of time together, but it's
good to be involved.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're not locked down, it's good.
Yeah, for sure.
I get it.
But I don't know. It's hard to, like, do stuff that's more than, like, a couple hours away, you know, and especially if it's motorcycle related. But yeah, maybe I don't know what weekend that'll fall on with her, but maybe I'll just bring her along, make her go.
Hey, man, we're in the middle of East Cleveland. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
You might find some syringe needles, or you might find a good time.
We'll see.
Just watch what she picks up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
How old is she?
13.
13. Oh, she's not picking up stuff off the ground. She's smart.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking like a little one.
No.
All right.
She's a pretty streetwise kid. She's funny.
Yeah.
Cool. And
there's a lot to do in Cleveland for 13-year-olds. I mean, we got the Rock Hall, and there's a bunch of different art museums, and there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. That's cool. kind of what I was.
And then you come to my show for a little bit. That'll be good.
yeah, that'd be awesome. And tell me about your book, because it's like a book. It's like a fucking book, dude. It's not like a chat book. You didn't make it on like a Xerox. It's not like a zine. It's like a book.
Yeah, that was the main goal, was to make a book, as you would say. The whole premise behind it, 3 years of talking about it, my wife said, shut up and just do it. So I shut up and did it. I didn't go to the bar very much this winter. I didn't hang out with a lot of friends. Me and her just sat at the computer and fucking hammered it out, man. The hardest part for me was dwindling down the photos to use and really kind of make it a story of, or at least cohesiveness to it. Maybe not even just a story, but like have it make sense in a way that lays out that people will feel good about it, I guess. So I was really worried for those 3 years. Is my work good enough? Is it okay for me to put this out? Is it the right time? Is it not the right time? Does it matter? Is it a point to it all? Asking myself hundreds of questions instead of just sitting down and doing it and taking my own advice, which is usually just fucking do what you want, do it. I really procrastinated on this because of my self-doubt on my artistic side of things and if it was good enough. So with my wife backing me 100 million%, she pushed me again, like I said, to do it, and we sat down all winter and did it, and I'm pretty excited with the outcome. I wanted to put out something that was high quality. I've seen people's books with a photography that they're good, but they're not amazing. Not saying that mine's amazing either, but I wanted to make sure that if you paid $75 for this book, you're getting your money's worth. You're getting a cool-ass book that has a lot of vivid imagery and a lot of, what I do. Some people look at my website and I want 10 photos, but I don't want to pay the prices for 10 photos print-wise. So putting this book together, you get almost 200 photos or more. I think there's more than that in the book for way less money. And yet still have that same print quality that I sell my prints at,
Right.
So that was another goal for me. It was to have something that was affordable and worth people's time and money to buy it, I guess. It was definitely stressful. I had a few nightmares. I had nightmares that it was an abomination. I had nightmares that people burnt it and said it was stupid and other things. Or I had a nightmare when I didn't have them ready. Like I didn't have them in my hands, and the party was like 2 weeks away. I had a nightmare that it wasn't coming. Like I was fucked. It was bad. It was definitely a nervous wreck, a nervous Nelly for a while there.
Oh, dude. All those...
But people are actually starting to get them, and they got them at the party and whatnot. Everyone's had nothing but positive things to say, and I tell them stop lying to me, be honest. Tell me the truth, and they're serious. They're telling me that they like it, so I'm excited for that people are really enjoying it. I did a couple written pieces in it. I don't know why people like my writing. I'm not a writer. I hated English class. And grammar's not my suit, if you would say. I use words that are phonetically spelled. So we definitely sat down with 2 editors on this, which helped out immensely on getting my rambling down and getting it concise and to a point. So that was really the key, and I can't thank Lindsay Westfall and Rachel enough for doing that for me. Rachel's last name is, I'm drawing a blank. Rachel works with my wife.
Nice.
So I'm drawing a blank. Let me see.
Is it on the book?
Rachel Minkowski.
Minkowski. All right. All right.
You know, she works with my wife, and she's an English major, so she rips my book to shreds, which is awesome. It really helps. And but she really helped me not have it sporadic and weird. It was made it more cohesive, and it boiled down to me telling people my feelings and stories, and it was all over the place, and it turned into more of my feelings of what life's like on a motorcycle and what I look for when I'm shooting photos and how I feel in those moments. It really dialed it in. So she really helped me like hone that style and that thing. And Lindsay helped me with the whole past tense, present tense bullshit. Like I'm really bad at that too. So Lindsay does all the fast tense magazines from Canada. Do you know that magazine? Have you seen that yet?
I don't think so.
It's a brilliant lifestyle magazine with all dealing with motorcycles. It's not just choppers. It's like everything motorcycle related. And like the lifestyle of just riding different places, exploring new things, you know, from motorcycle gear on how it lasts, not just reviewing it, is it good or not, you know, they actually test things out. And just a really cool magazine. It's laid out beautifully, and she has a really good eye for text and photos and stuff. So her and a couple other people put that together. So it was good to have her involved. So there's a little bit of Canadian influence in my book.
Yeah. Well, when you told me you rode out with Mikey Rice, I was like, how do you know him?
We met at the Get Down in 2012 or 2013. 2013, I think. Yeah, 2013, because I went on that trip in 2014. So I only knew him probably 6 months, and we went on that trip together. And I only knew him, you know, from the Get Down and talking to him on the phone once in a while, and I saw him at like 1 or 2 other events. So for me to go randomly across country with this dude, it was pretty random for sure.
Yeah, he's a solid dude, man. I like him a lot.
I love him. He's one of my best friends, and I'm so glad that, you know, motorcycles brought us together. You know, what's funny is my wife met him just before I did, and she was walking around with just a bra on, saying shirts are for work, take your shirt off, and yelling at people. And she yelled at him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Follow us, we're drinking over here." And that's when we met. So he tried shoving an entire bottle of Jack Daniels down my throat, but I didn't allow that to happen. He drank all of it. I acted like I was drinking all of it with him, but he drank the entire bottle. It was one of my favorite stories.
Oh, man.
He was like, "Remember that time we got really drunk on Jack Daniels at the Get Down?" I was like, "You remember that time I didn't get really drunk on Jack Daniels? Did you?" So, peer pressure, man, I tell you.
Nice. Nice. Cool, man. Well, congratulations on the book.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. You do good work, dude. I mean, you're a good guy. Like, usually those two things don't go together, but, and you got an awesome wife too, by the way. So, yeah.
Thanks. She's a gem for sure. I owe everything to her. She's my rock for sure.
You're killing it, man.
I thank you. That means a lot. I don't know. I just, like you said earlier, I just try to be who I am and how I was raised, and try to give off good vibes to people, and I try to take care of people too. Like that's the whole part about like with Fuel Cleveland for me is giving back to the community that we have.
Yeah.
Really strive to help artists get discovered if they're not already, or just showcase artists that I think are amazing, or even just big time names that are already out there just because they're amazing. You know, like it's something that I really strive to do because I was at the bottom doing nothing, and somebody took notice of me. You know, Lisa Ballard took a gamble on me for Chop Vault. She was like, "Oh, I've never really seen any of your work other than this here, but I really think you got an eye, and I'd like you to do more. Let's challenge you, and can you do a story for me here, or do this?" And you know, to have that one person give me a chance is exactly the same thing I want to do for other people in this industry.
Yep.
You know, just like how you're talking about, Matt, you know, Davis, and giving that chance and remembering people and being authentic and thorough, I really try to do that too.
Yeah.
So Fuel Cleveland's like my give back to people as much as I can when it comes to the industry and artists and the builders, and that was my, I want to help other people out. I have aspirations to maybe do my own zine one day or something like that to help people published and do things too. I don't know if that's possible yet. It's all things in the brain, that I want to try and do. There's also thoughts of me wanting to put some kind of documentary or lifestyle kind of television show for YouTube or something in that nature in my head. To have people showcase the art and talents of people. It might not ever happen, but these are all thoughts in my head that are all ways to help people. I don't care to help myself in that regard, like I want to showcase other people, and if I can help them in any way with using my name or my resources or my people that I do know and introduce and make things better for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, like you said, let the good times that's fun for everyone. Hope that it's well reciprocated, and I don't know, I just believe in doing good for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like, just don't be a shithead and be awesome to people and really celebrate everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's celebrate everyone for their individuality and what they do and how they're created.
Right.
That's the point of my book too, is really celebrating people and their individuality in motorcycle life.
Yeah.
I focus primarily on the people on motorcycles riding, not so much the motorcycle itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a handful of motorcycles in there because I wanted to keep it a little bit relatable like that, but most of it is all people riding and showing off their style or their story through that photo. So.
Right. Yeah.
That was a lot of ranting in there. I apologize.
That's exactly.
A lot of philosophical things there.
No, it's perfect. That's exactly what I want when I talk to people. And dude, I think you kill it, and I think whatever new endeavor you end up trying and that you set your mind to, I know you're going to kill it with that too. So, yeah. Got every faith in the world in you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot for talking to me. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for letting me talk to you.
Oh.
Because you are a nice guy.
Well, you are a nice guy.
Rule.
And you rule. You rule.
No, you rule, man.
You rule. All right, dude.
All right, brother.
All right, that was my conversation with Mikey Revolt. If you want to check out Mikey's new book, Forever the Chaos Life Legends, you can check that out on his website, and that is foreverthechaoslife.com. You can order a copy of the book, and you can also purchase a print or one of his awesome t-shirts. If you want to find out more about the Fuel Cleveland show, you can head on over to their blog, and that is fuelcleveland.blogspot.com. And the date on that is July 29th, 2017. That's in lovely Cleveland, Ohio. Be there, be square. And if you want to keep up with what's going on with Mikey, you can just give him a follow on the Instagram at Mikey, that's M-I-K-E-Y, Revolt, R-E-V-O-L-T. Also, if you want to see some pictures of what he and I talked about during our conversation, you can head on over to the Rulers and Writers blog. Links to all this stuff will be in the show notes. Also, if you want to give us a follow on the Rulers and Writers Instagram, that is rulers_and_writers. That's going to about do it for this show. I was talking with Mikey after we got done with the interview, and I was like, man, just stuff kept going wrong this week. Like, we tried to schedule these interviews, and stuff would come up, and he couldn't do it one night, and I couldn't do it one night, and it just kept going off the rails. And then I realized, I was like, this is show number 13. And, and I'm not a superstitious person, but, I mentioned that. I was like, this is show number 13. And he was like, oh, yeah, that was my number when I played baseball when I was a kid. So things definitely do have a way of working out. That's going to about do it for me. I got to get up and work a double tomorrow. So not really looking forward to that. Again, apologize for a little bit of the change in the audio quality, but we'll be improving that as we go on. I mean, we're like 3 months into this, new venture, and it's just going to keep getting better. Thanks again for your words of support, your emails, your Instagram comments, you're sending me texts, private messages. Your encouragement and your kind words and your loving criticism mean the world to me. I couldn't do this without you guys. So, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I always love to hear from listeners of the show. I'm going to wrap this up and hit the hay. Again, thanks a lot for listening in, and we will see you down the road.